It is Bristol, baby! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association for the Super Cup Series and the final race in the round of 8. We're happy to be joining us on a Thursday night. My name is Zola Rempel, and we've got Rob Melnick as acting technical director down behind the cameras for tonight's race. Hopefully, I'll be joined by Brian Britt later on tonight. It is bound to be a fun race around the last great Coliseum here in Tennessee for the Applebee's Bar and Grill 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Today, we knock out 2 drivers, and another 6 will go on to the round of 6. Qualifying presently underway. We'll wrap up qualifying first. We'll get into all the intricacies of point standings later on in the race. It's so far Seth Hollander at the top of the boards. This is quickly invested by Chad Sullivan and Travis Mann. The benchmark time, presently a 14.334. Up at the top end. How about Josh Schaffner going up to the top with a 13.307? Just 2 thou behind is Brian Johnson, who's looking to secure his ticket into the round of 6. Comes into tonight 3rd place in points. The first driver up on points that has not gotten a win so far. Boyd Hogan and Justin Levine. Hogan not present. Levine have already secured their tickets in with their 2 wins at Darlington and Richmond 1 and 2. Weeks ago. 12 drivers have currently set qualifying time. About a half a second separates first on back to the 12th position. Make that 14th now is Clayton Hoffman. He will be going 8th fastest with Heath Schneider up to the 5th position. It's still a very tight qualifying field up here. The top 5, less than a 10th of a second separating them. Make that the top 6, as a matter of fact. And in fact, the top 7 as 6th and 7th place tie with Chad Sullivan, Seth Hollander setting 14.394s, and Heath Schneider just 1 thou up with a 14.393. It is a tight field out there tonight of 23 drivers. Bound to be a thrilling 250-lap race here from Bristol, Tennessee. Greg Wyszynski goes 10th fastest with a 14.470 up at the end of his second lap, or the end of his first lap in qualifying. That's going to leave John Ballou to now go 9th fastest. Bump Wyszynski down to 11th place now, 14.440 set for John Ballou. That's just 3 thou up on Justin Levine and 2 thou up on Craig Johnson. Levine going 11th fastest with a 14.443. That just leaves now another 6 drivers that have yet to set their qualifying times tonight. And we get set to set this field up for 250 laps of racing. 2 minutes are left on the clock. So we'll take a quick step away and we'll give the shout out to the guys that help to keep the lights on here at the Art Stock Car Association. And from there, we'll take you straight in to the United States of America National Anthem. The most famous words in motorsports have been spoken. Let's take a rundown for your butt kicker starting grid. It's Josh Schaffner and playoff contender Brian Johnson lined it up just 2 thousandths apart on the front row. Travis Manning sits in third place, just 100th of a second behind him is Kyle Labrie to round out row number 2. Clayton Hoffman got kind of screwed over at Richmond 1 week ago, having dropped out twice. It's going to be a long shot for him to get his way into the round of 6. He needs a win desperately here at Bristol. He starts in 5th place with Heath Schneider down in 6th. 1 thou behind Schneider is Sullivan, tied with Seth Hollander on row number 4. John Ballew and Craig Johnson, only 2 thou separating the 2 drivers up on row number 5. Justin Levine joined in late, didn't get a practice lap in, but he'll set a qualifying time good enough for P11 with Greg Wachinski out there in 12th place. Wayne Grossi sits 13th with Eduardo Oliveira in 14th. Mark Sanchez is in 15th. Kenny Powell in 16th. Josh Ward and Rob Patgill 1 thou separating the last 2 drivers to qualifying time in 17th and 18th place. Now for drivers that have not set times, you got Roy Hyde, Brian Littleton, Corey Cook, Randy Drumhiller, and Paul Regney. So quite a few new faces coming into tonight. Mark Sanchez among the new faces coming on in for season number 4 of the regular Cup Series season. We'll get into the regular season a little bit more when Super Cup Series wraps on up, as well as that Josh Ward, a newcomer to the series as well, lined up in his number 52 Function Autosport Chevrolet. So a lot of new names getting ready to come on in here tonight and hopefully see exactly what they can do. 2 pace laps will start us off for this 250-lap race for the Applebee's Bar and Grill 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. 3 stages. Stage breaks are at laps 50 and 100 each. Fuel window, roughly 116 laps on the night. So fuel not going to be a worry in stages 1 or 2. It's going to be in stage number 3 that they're all going to have to worry about. We are going to be racing into the evening. It's just shy of 7:30 p.m. in sim time. Track temperature, pretty cool, 78 degrees Fahrenheit compared to the air temperature of 77. Calm winds blowing off to the east about 2 miles an hour, so barely noticeable out there on the track. It's a beautiful night here at Bristol, Tennessee. Small cloud cover over the track. Should help to cool it off as we get set to go racing into the night. Already the lights have been turned on over Bristol Motor Speedway. We get set to potentially see if this will play into a factor. And, of course, the question is going to be how many cautions do we get on the night as well? It's a track that requires patience. It's also what many call the birthplace of the bump and run. And I feel like we'll be seeing that bumper used quite a lot as we get set to go racing further and further into the night. Just wait now on your iRacing pace car to lead us off on our 2 pace laps for a total of 1 mile before we go racing in the last Great Coliseum. This track, of course, where NASCAR runs at this weekend for not just the Cup Series, but also the Xfinity and the Truck Series, conveniently enough. So every series, including ARCA Menards, is coming on out to play at Bristol Motor Speedway this weekend here in Tennessee. Now the pace car starts to roll. It'll be 2 pace laps. Want to thank everybody as well for being able to come on out and join us on a beautiful Thursday night for more action from the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series. Also the season opener for the regular Cup Series season, Season 4 of 2021. Don't forget, you can use the code to get 20% off all ButtKicker products at thebuttkicker.com. ISCA20. That is ISCA20. Discount code that will get you 20% off on all ButtKicker products over on thebuttkicker.com. 1 lap to green. And the question is going to be how long before the inevitable happens and we get ourselves a good old short track pile up. It's a commonplace thing with basically every single time you run at a track like this one. I know A Opens haven't been particularly pretty this week. We'll see if these guys can do any better. I know that we've had some very impressive performances by this grouping in the past. I have them there, not going to be disappointing here tonight. It's the pace car going to bring Schaffner and Johnson around turns 3 and 4. And we get set to go racing. Once again, thank you for joining us here on a Thursday night. My name is Nolan Rempel. I'll hopefully be joined by Brian Britt later on this evening. Pace car down to pit road. Off of turn number 4. Green flag drops. We are racing from Tennessee. Schaffner gets away well. He will lead the opening lap. Brian Johnson looking hungry. He's going to charge one up the inside line, trying to go for the race lead off of turn number 2, right in behind. You've seen Kyle Labrie get all sorts of squirrely with Clayton Hoffman on his inside, just behind. So they're single file out for the top 3, still side by side behind them, with Clayton Hoffman, who is desperately needing the win tonight after getting screwed over at Richmond by technical difficulties, trying to hunt up the inside of Kyle Labrie, but that outside line is going to reign supreme all through the night. And already you can see Hoffman starting to drop back as Heath Schneider in the front line. Motorsports number 8 machine going to pull around on his outside. And Schneider going to get fully clear. Clayton Hoffman going to work up his inside as well. And now you can see the 10 of Seth Hollander trying to pull on the outside line. Still early on. Battles on for second up the road. Travis Manning punching up the inside of the G&G Racing machine of Brian Johnson. The Southern Spiral Pipe Chevrolet looking to fall back to that Abruzzi 22 machine. But Johnson gets away clear. And that means we are going to be pretty much single filed out all the way throughout this racetrack now. It's one of those things you got to single file out pretty quickly, or you can find yourself dropping back in a hurry. I know Brian Britt working his way on joining us. We'll hopefully get in touch with him in just a couple of moments here. I'll tell you right
sorry
now,
about that, Nolan. I had a little bit of some personal issues going there, so that's why I'm a little bit late here. I do apologize about that, but I am loading in, so I will be in the racing action here shortly.
Oh, no worries, Brian. We've been having a good time as well over here so far, Bristol, Tennessee. You haven't missed much. We're not even at lap 10 yet in the race. And tell you what, right now, Travis Manning having a heck of a fight with Brian Johnson, trying to get by him for second place. Johnson, though, trying to run the outside line, is not able to get it done, though. Travis Manning pulls around for second. Johnson looking back down the inside, though, into turn number 3. Not able to clear, though, and that's going to leave Travis Manning effectively up in third position. Oh, sliding up behind Seth Hollander. Look out for the 10 car. Slides down. He'll get collected by John Balu. Caution flag flies. Grassie's collected. Powell is collected. It's a big melee on the back straightaway.
Big contact with the 6 of John Balu. He hit the wall so hard, I'm pretty sure he towed. I mean, this is some heavy damage on a lot of these race cars. Wow, what an incident there. And so early.
Only took to lap number 10 before we had caution number 1 on the night. Taking a look back at what happened here. This all started with Seth Hollander. Got a little bit of contact, I actually believe, with Heath Schneider coming out of turn number 4. They made door-to-door contact. That kind of set Hollander offline a little ways into turn number 1. Schneider suddenly found a way through. We'll need to get a look on board with Heath Schneider if you can. I know Hoffman got lucky to miss that one as well. Unfortunately, though, John Balu, he got bad luck. He shot up the racetrack, got into Wachinski, then bounced back down into Craig Johnson before being rear-ended by Wayne Grossi and Kenny Powell, collecting both of those 2 drivers.
Yeah, that was quite the incident. I guess I joined in at just the wrong time. Hopefully I didn't rub any bad luck on these guys. Wow. Yes, what an incident. I mean, that was definitely one to behold there for sure. I mean, a lot of unlucky guys. And that's one thing about Bristol, though. I mean, it's so hard to, see really what's going on the other side of the track. So, you kind of come up into things you don't even really aren't prepared for, I'd say.
Only lap number 10 out of 250 on the night. And the good news is these guys will have a lot of time to be able to come on down and get that damage repaired, but it's just such an unfortunate mess for all those that got collected, and it only takes that one little bit of contact. At a track like Vegas or Darlington, sure, you'll be able to escape that sort of thing just fine and dandy, but unfortunately, not at Bristol. You barely have enough room to work side by side as it is, but when you get a situation like this, you got cars sliding all over the place. I mean, where are you supposed to go? You got to just kind of shoot the gap and hope you're safe.
Well, they don't call this place the Last Great Coliseum for no reason. I mean, considering just the high speeds that these guys are carrying around this racetrack. I mean, for being a half-a-mile track, I mean, these guys are going so fast around here. I mean, any kind of contact you have, especially, when it's that, like, where it stops your car instantly. I mean, these walls are unforgiving out here.
John Balu has officially retired from the session. Our first driver out on just lap number 10. So unfortunate for John Balu, who got collected up in all of this. Well, like I was saying, Brian, you haven't missed much. It was primarily clean racing up to that point, I guess you could say. Tell you right now that Clayton Hoffman, we were talking about, or I was talking about him before, he is desperately needing the win tonight. He is going to be needing every scrap of blood that he can get, and he's hoping that these top 5 ahead of him are going to wreck out. That's the only way he can get in right now, okay? You got to remember, 25 points out of the cut line, and he is definitely needing a good win tonight. But the green flag's back out. We're underway with Schaffner leading the field.
Yeah, Schaffner's been looking really good. I mean, he looked very good last week, I do believe, at Richmond. A lot of these guys starting to show up here now that it is playoff time. Maybe a little bit too late for some of these guys, though. As we see Justin Levine starting to work his way up.
Justin Levine started in 11th. He just completed a pass on Chad Sullivan, fended off the 21 car to go for 7th position up in front. That's Heath Schneider and Clayton Hoffman going side by side. Now Hoffman, like I was just mentioning, 25 points out of the cut line. There's only 23 cars on the field tonight. He needs to get a win to secure his ticket into the round of 6.
Yeah, he's definitely fighting hard. You can see the determination up there, but I think he's got the right idea running that top side. I mean, as the race goes on, more rubber's going to get laid down up there, and it's going to be a lot easier to make that line work. I think that's going to be the predominant line here later. And it looks like it might be already transitioning into that, to that.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, all night long so far, these guys haven't run at the outside line. You just carry more speed around there, and Hoffman clears around Schneider. That's going to open up the door for Justin Levine to find his way through in the Abruzzi number 19, the frontline machine. Work up his way into the 6th position now. Look at the run he got on Hoffman. That 19 car was looking ready to pounce, and up in front, is that a battle for the lead? Potentially, I'm seeing Manning trying to get a little antsy here on Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. One thing about Bristol, though, it's so hard to be side by side. You're going to slow yourself down for the guys behind. So that 9 of Kyle Labrie going to be looking very, intently on this battle for the lead if he can take advantage of this. Look at how tight Travis Manning gets up to Josh Schaffner. That was scary there, wasn't it, Nolan?
Nearly rubbed him up and into the wall, but hey, the good old adage with short track racing. If your car's clean at the end, you haven't been racing it right. And Travis Manning taking that statement to heart, trying to force Schaffner up and out of the groove, but it hasn't worked so far. Schaffner doing a great job of holding on to this, but watch out just in behind. Kyle Labrie is looking antsy. Now, Kyle Labrie, he comes into the night on the bubble and 4 points back, or 4 points up from Craig Johnson, so he needs to finish as good as he can tonight as well. Look at his speeds! Oh no! Josh Schaffner speeds out, takes Labrie with him in the caution fly.
I feel like that might have had something to do with air, to be honest with you. I mean, Schaffner missing his whole front end, though. Wow, what an incident. If we take a look back at that, I mean, wow. I mean, it looked like no contact really happened until after Schaffner lost it. I feel like something to do with the air out there. I don't know. Maybe get your opinion on that, Nolan.
That's exactly what it was. He just came around on him off of turn number 4. Got the hammer down a bit too aggressive, but as soon as he hit the throttle, that thing came around on him. And this is huge for the championship, remember, because there's only 7.5 points separating Schaffner from Labrie. At this point, the way it stands, I think Josh Schaffner is out of the playoffs and Craig Johnson is in. So Schaffner's got a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to see if he can maybe secure his ticket into the round of 6.
There's big contact there with Kyle Labrie, too. I mean, he's definitely going to be hurting after that incident.
Not as much as Schaffner, though. At least Labrie still has a front clip to work with. Schaffner can't say the same.
Yeah, well, one thing about this racetrack, though, the temps get pretty high, so if you get some front-end damage like that, you might want to take some tape off.
That is also very much true. It doesn't look like Schaffner has opted to take any kind of damage service under this latest caution, but you talk about how volatile a playoff situation is when you get into, a race like this, as Seth Hollander getting the Lucky Dog free pass. Craig Johnson, I was just talking about it, he was 4 points out on Kyle Labrie, and Labrie was only 7.5 points down from Josh Schaffner. With Schaffner at the back, that effectively is going to put Craig Johnson up onto that bubble spot.
Definitely going to be some good work for him. He just needs to keep it clean for sure. It's going to be difficult, but wow, look at that. I'm looking at the 24 of Kenny Powell. He has got major damage. I guess I didn't witness what had actually, he must have been involved in that earlier incident because he has got a lot of damage on that car. And one thing about Bristol, so hard to actually get, some really good repairs in, considering just how short these pace laps are here at this short track.
And Kenny Powell, you were right, was collected up in that first crash, got into it with Wayne Grossi, and that's why both of those drivers have major damage. They're going to take all the advantage they can get coming on down pit road to get that damage repaired. I believe 2 to green this time by. We're coming to 1 to green potentially for this grouping here. That's going to eventually put Travis Manning up into the lead. Johnson's up to second where he started. Labrie still sitting down in third. But how about Justin Levine? 11th place to fourth already, and we're just past halfway in stage one.
Yeah, definitely got to look out for him. I mean, that 19 is always fast. I've never seen him not, be usually up in the top 5 at least. So, I mean, this is definitely Justin Levine's kind of MO. He's just going to stay right there. Make sure he keeps it clean, because that's going to be the main thing here. We got so many laps to go here. I don't think these guys understand what they're in for.
Manning looking like he might want to take that outside line, and I'm going to say that might not be a bad idea, Brian. We've seen how fast that outside lane is already, even in the earlier runs on fresh tires. Why wouldn't you want to take that on a restart? You know it's going to be bad on the inside. Take that top line, and you'll be able to get a cleaner start.
Oh, I agree totally. I feel like that is a good call. I mean, we saw that top line starting to come in really well on that last run. I mean, that's crazy, though, to see that top line's coming into play already, considering we're not even 30 laps into this thing. But Travis very aware of what's going on out on the racetrack, and he's picking a smart call here, I think. And look at that 24 stopped on the bottom of the racetrack. Is he exploded? Is he blown up?
No, he tried to beat the pace car out. Unfortunately, didn't make it. He's got to drop all the way to the rear end of the field as a result. And now the yellow flag is delayed as a result of that. Not going green, says iRacing. I'm willing to bet that was because Katie Powell was stopped on the inside line there, just because he had to let the field through. Not only that, but Seth Holland was in a similar situation, out of 3 and 4. So now we're going to be back 1 to green, and it looks like just now the running order gets itself properly sorted out.
It definitely was interesting there. I kind of wondered. I thought hopefully he didn't explode or anything like that. Hopefully Kenny can get back into this thing, and apparently he is going to be able to get back into it. So that's definitely good. Travis probably a little frustrated, probably getting ready to go green there. I mean, sometimes whenever you're ready to go green, you don't want that little extra lap there, that delayed green, to kind of mess with your head a little bit.
Coming around 3 and 4, Travis Manning will be your control car on the outside line. And how about the launch? Brian Johnson caught napping on the start, side by side in the turn 1 behind Manning, who is going to be clear and green down the back straightaway with 20 to go in stage 1.
Yeah, what a start there from Travis Manning. I mean, but look at Johnson, though. Very fast right now, easily catching back up to him. So, I mean, even though, usually would be, really good to actually, jump it here because of how short this track is, doesn't seem like it helped him very much. I mean, Johnson looking very fast, but look at Justin Levine on the bottom, 19, able to get side by side with Johnson.
Forcing Brian Johnson out towards the wall, and Levine will be able to get his nose in, and he picks up second place. Levine's going to be going for a stage win. How about Brian Johnson, the effort on the bump and run there on Levine into turn 3. That opens up the door for Kyle Labrie to throw his nose up the inside. So Kyle Labrie, Noda trying to link up with his frontline teammate just up the road from him, while Brian Johnson starting to draw back. Heath Schneider wants to look at spicy, but how about the battle for the lead? Justin Levine worked his way up from 11th on the grid, and he is about to get that race lead away from Travis Manning. Oh, and a big contact behind. Kyle Labrie slides out, and he'll save the car through 3 and 4, but heads up for the 26, who also slides. Eduardo Oliveira all over the track. They both managed to save it, and now we are side by side for the race lead up the road.
Wow, how did they manage to get through that without a caution? What a race this has been thus far. And side by side, like you said, Justin Levine trying to look for any type of weakness he could find in Travis Manning. But I think Manning's got a pretty good defense here.
He does have a good defense. I can't agree with you more. He's kind of hanging around that middle line, not allowing Levine to utilize either lane to get a good run. But how about Levine entering high, try to exit low with the run down the back stretch, but it's just not far enough this straightaway to be able to get a proper run out of these corners. At least not enough to be able to throw one up the inside. Unless he can go in here in turn 1, he's going to go for the move. Travis Manning can do nothing as Levine lunges up the inside. But Manning pulls that outside groove nice, and he'll be able to maintain the lead. But for how long is the question?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know. It's only a matter of time. Levine seems hungry enough, but is this affecting his tires, him throwing it in under anything like that? I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe he's not looking at the long run here. I mean, you said stage break is coming up here shortly.
10 laps exactly from now is when the stage break ends. I don't think Levine is thinking about tires. You got 5 sets to work with. You're coming up to a stage break, use all those tires you can get now, and that way you are in a good position to get as many spots as you can at the end of this stage. These few cautions in the stage 1 have also helped Levine be able to close in the gap. So every single caution, it seems that he'll make up like 2 or 3 spots, and then he'll be able to get a huge run thanks to the yellow flags. If this had been able to go green, I can guarantee he probably wouldn't be in second place right now, threatening for the lead.
Well, I mean, we definitely could see some long green runs later. And one thing about Bristol is you don't really have to worry about gas as much as you would think. But, you know, so that's one thing about it. A lot of these guys might not have opportunities to take tires, so I understand why they would take them when they can.
I know that the fuel window is about 116 laps. That's not going to come into play, though, until stage number 3 when you have 150 laps to go in the race. So that is a guaranteed thing, but I don't think we're going to be running stage 3 all the way green, to be completely frank with you. 6 laps to go now in stage number 1. Stage 1 ends at lap 50, stage 2 at 100, and then we go the rest of the 150 laps under green for stage 3, provided there aren't any further incidents. But, of course, at Bristol, an incident is never really far away, is it?
No, definitely not. And, you know, incident could happen next lap here as we watch the leader, you know, Travis Manning catching up to Paul Regney right now. I mean, he's getting ready to go a lap down.
Paul Regney about to fall 1 down. How will this impact the battle for the lead? Manning going to go the inside. Levine trying to get a run around the outside, but Regney blocks that run off. Reddy's going to give it out to the top side. Going to be 3 to go this next time by Travis Manning. Still holds the race lead. Levine going for the bumper.
A little early to do that right now. I think we got so much racing left to go. I don't know if I throw a bumper this early, but it looks like Justin Levine hungry right now as he gets up on the top of Travis Manning. This is going to be an interesting battle here. Can he hold this line, be able to keep this speed? I think he's got it.
Pit road is closed with 2 to go. Justin Levine fighting the outside line, and he makes that work. Levine to the race lead, coming to the white flag in stage number 1. How about that for Justin Levine? 11th on the grid to make an outside pass for the lead. Turnaround turns 1 and 2. Does Travis Manning have anything for him down the back straightaway into turn number 3? I don't think he will, and sure enough, Travis Manning not close enough. Justin Levine takes victory in stage number 1.
Yeah, and I think if they had another lap there, that 31 might have complicated things a little bit here. But what a run from Justin Levine. I mean, it's so fast up there. I mean, to be able to do that and have such confidence in your race car to run that high side there.
What a battle for the end of stage number 1. And we'll touch into all the intricacies of that in a little bit here. But for now, we'll take a quick step away, and we'll be back with more racing action at stage number 2 of the Applebee's Bar and Grill 250 right after this. Yellow flag pit stops presently underway. Josephine led them down, but Manny was already ahead before they even got to the pit stalls. Made a pass through turns 3 and 4, if you could believe it or not. But it will be Justin Levine to lead them out. Travis Manning going to have to tuck into 3rd place here, I believe. I think he just got beaten out by Heath Schneider up the road. But what a battle for stage 1. We were just talking about this beforehand, but that was one heck of a fight. I mean, you don't see passes like that too often. You certainly don't see them, happen cleanly very often, especially on iRacing here.
Yeah, I definitely thought there was going to be some issues there between those two. But, I mean, what a drive from Justin to be able to make that run on the high side like that, find the room. Because, I mean, we know, I mean, you know, Travis Manning was protecting, you know, every line, essentially. So, somehow, Justin was able to make that work. I mean, wow. Just, that's great racing. And I can't wait to see how this thing, ends. I mean, if it's going to be, like, even more intense than that, I mean, I know we're in for a great show.
Travis Manning is in trouble, though. Got caught speeding from the looks of things on pit road. Taking an end of the longest line penalty for the 22.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, considering how hard he was racing Levine on pit road just now. I mean,
well, like we said, he made the pass from the inside line through 3 and 4. That's probably where he got that penalty from, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. I mean, I don't know what was going on. Maybe his sensors are not reading the right speed or something like that.
So that puts frontline teammates Justin Levine and Heath Schneider up on the front row. Chad Sullivan in third with Clayton Hoffman. Once again, needing a win tonight in 4th place. Now, Hoffman, he has a shot here to potentially be able to work his way in. If he can just get that race win and go to victory lane, he'll be able to secure his ticket into the round of 6. And I can imagine that is exactly what he's gunning for, and he's probably willing to do just about anything to be able to get that position secure. Pace car down to pit road. Justin Levine gonna get set to race away. We're underway for stage number 2.
Yeah, not quite as of a dramatic of a start there. You know, we saw Levine, he waited pretty much. I mean, didn't see really much of an advantage for leaving early. And what a start from Heath Snyder, right? You know, staying right there. Chad Sullivan making a big move here, almost trying to, stick his nose underneath Snyder.
But this time, they're clean and green. Stage 1, they only made it 10 laps before you had caution number 1. We'll have to see if we'll be able to make it for caution number 1 in stage 2. Will it come at all, or will we be able to make it through to the end of this race? That's the big ticket question. Oh, we're not going to get there. Brian Johnson just got hit by Travis Manning in the background. Brian Johnson sliding it into the pit barrels, and the caution flag flies. Oh,
I have to take a look at that.
It was a bit of a tap, bump and run into turn number 2. Travis Manning trying to go up the inside, couldn't get it stopped in time. That sent Brian Johnson around, who was trying to save it, but unfortunately went down low and just nailed Johnson into the pit barrels right at the start of the back straightaway. And you're taking another look at this one now on the instant replay. There's a touch from Manning, and around Johnson goes. Nothing he can do about it. And that's a pretty decent hit to the inside wall as well. I wonder if he got a black flag for entering pit road, because he did knock out that cone where you have to, meet pit road speed.
Could very well be the case. Very unfortunate for him. I mean, just someone, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like I understand what Travis was trying to accomplish here. I understand he was trying to get by Johnson, of course, but I don't think that he would have made it. I don't think that was really a smart call there. I mean, I don't think you could have made that work.
Well, I think he was more trying to, go for these positions, because he was the fastest, one of, if not the fastest car out there at the moment. I think it was honestly a misjudgment call. He didn't try to go for the bumper there, but he just couldn't get it slowed down in time. Didn't anticipate how much Brian Johnson would actually be checking up, because he's so used to how he's running when he's battling for the race lead, not trying to work his way back up through the field.
100%. It's just unfortunate how that all took place there. I mean, I don't think he did it intentionally at all. Definitely not. I just, like you said, I agree totally. Misjudgment. That was definitely a bad judgment call.
And hey, it happens. You're on a short track, you're going over 100 miles an hour on average here at the Last Great Coliseum. These things are going to happen. They happen in the real world all the time. Usually they'll end with a car going into the pit barrels, granted, but
it's Bristol, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, it's Bristol, baby. That's just how the track works.
100%. So expect probably a lot more of that. I mean, incidental guys using their chrome horns. Some guys might do it on purpose. I'm sure we have a show in store for us.
Talked about a lot about how some drivers need good performances tonight and they want to secure the ticket into the playoffs. Talked about Brian Johnson now having problems. Boyd Hogan hasn't turned up tonight, but of course he's already secured in. Josh Schaffner has crashed. Kyle Labrie has crashed. And Kenny Powell, the other playoff contenders, also crashed. So this now means that all 4 our title contenders that were safe in the playoffs up to this point, Brian, they have already all crashed, and we're not even into the triple digits in this race. how much of a coincidence is that?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's for sure. I mean, definitely going to present some opportunities for some guys that really didn't think they had a chance in. I think.
And the only one that really hasn't crashed out yet, or the two drivers that haven't crashed, are the two that aren't safe. Clayton Hoffman needing the win tonight. He has not encountered any struggles so far. And Craig Johnson, he's been slowly working his way through the order. He just needs to be 4 points to the good on Kyle Labrie, and he'll find his ticket into the bubble spot as well. So you got all these various little things that are no doubt just trying to figure themselves out as the time goes along. It'll be interesting, I think, to say the very least. It's been an entertaining race so far, and no doubt it's only going to increase from here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, speaking of you were saying that Craig Johnson needs about 4 points on Kyle Labrie. Well, Kyle Labrie's ahead of him right now, so I'm curious to see what is going to take place between this race between those two.
Green flag is back out, and we're underway once again from Bristol Motor Speedway into turn number 1. So far, no dramas throughout the field. Chad Sullivan under 5 from Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman ripping the outside line high, wide, and handsome. The GG92 picks up the podium positions, and that's one closer to the race win that he desperately needs.
100%. He's able to protect that third place. Ooh, some contact with Chad Sullivan into 26 of Edward Oliveira.
Eduardo Oliveira getting into it with Chad Sullivan.
Oh, more contact with Kyle Labrie there. Oh, yeah, Chad Sullivan's gone. Oh. He has lost it. There's a caution.
Oh, and there's a big
contact.
Well. Oh. Right in the middle of the field, the worst possible place he could be, especially out of turn number 2. There was inevitable that there's going to be some kind of contact there, but yeah, I think you called it right. Got loose out of 4, I think, and I think this kind of started coming into turn number 3 on the lap prior. We'll have to back this up by a ways, but got into with Kyle Labrie, and then it just went around on him, coming on over into turn number 1.
From what I saw there, it looked like Kyle Labrie was right behind him, and then, Chad was already very loose, and then, kind of slowed down to try to catch that car, and then Labrie got into the back of him and really caused him to go around.
He got into the back, but they hadn't even hit start finish yet, so I think it just kind of came around on them again in turn number 1 without any contact being made. I know that Ryan Littleton made hard contact, not just Sullivan, but also the outside wall. I know Josh Moore got a piece of that trying to avoid him. Schaffner got into it. Wachinski has huge damage as a result of that. I'm pretty sure Travis Manning might have just barely gotten out of that unscathed. You take a look at the replay now from the chase camera following Chad Sullivan, and yeah, just goes around by himself in turn number 1. Maybe you could say the contact had a bit to do with it, but more likely than not, there's the hit with the 31.
I think he was already loose. Yeah, he was definitely already loose. I mean, but I don't think the contact definitely helped, especially all those guys that made contact with him afterwards. That is going to be a huge blow to him. I mean, look at all those cars that hit him.
You saw Mark Sanchez got collected. Sanchez, of course, one of the series rookies coming into this race tonight, not having the best of nights himself. And you see it from the front stretch camera, and God, that's a hard hit for Wachinski. That was one of the hardest hits of that wreck thus far, and that's going to be a killer for Chad Sullivan.
Well, as a good buddy of mine always characterizes this racetrack, it is a buzzsaw. It eats people alive.
I've yet to finish a race at Bristol Motor Speedway, and I've been on the service for 2.5 years now. Probably about 3 now, so I think that tells you all you need to know about how deadly this track can really be to a race car. Actually, it has been over 3 years. Just realized that.
It's just so fast. I mean, things that happen at Bristol Motor Speedway, happen fast. Like, you're not going to have time to react. And just like that just now, none of them guys had any time to really react.
I mean, you saw it right there. I think it was the 50 car Schaffner. He had to scramble to the outside, and he had 2 options. Either slam head on with a stop Chad Sullivan, or grind against the outside wall in an effort to try to get by. And he picked the outside wall. Unfortunately, he picked up even more damage when Wachinski went for the same move and ran into the side of him. But, I mean, hey, I guess it's better than a head-on impact, but that's not going to be, any more comforting to the guys that got collected because of it.
Yeah, because this track is so fast, I mean, if you're missing RPM and stuff, I think you're going to really suffer here, too. But here we go. We're going to see what these guys can do. I do believe the pace car lights are out now, so just one more lap and we'll be back green as Justin Levine leading the field.
has not been a pretty race so far. A race of attrition it has been thus far here at Bristol, and a race of attrition it will continue to be. I believe this is coming to the end of caution number 6, 7 at this point.
It's Bristol, baby, like we said. You know, I mean, it's going to be like this. But, I mean, of course, it's going to be all about who actually survives this beginning melee. You know, I mean, this is just, it's almost like a filter.
Pace car is off. Justin Levine launches good. And we are back underway here in Tennessee. Heath Schneider covered off Hoffman, who goes to the inside line on Eduardo Oliveira. Hoffman trying to hang on for P3, but we know how hard that outside line can charge. Eduardo Oliveira going to pull to Hoffman, exactly what Hoffman pulled on the front line driver of Schneider the last time they went green flag racing, and this time it will send him back down to 4th place where Hoffman does not want to be.
No, definitely not, especially when you have that 5th place driver moving his way through the field this whole entire race. Roy Hyde up to 5th right now.
Halfway through stage number 2, this time by Justin Levine, holding the race lead as he has since the drop of the green flag on stage number 2. The driver that has made up the most spots is Roy Hyde, as you were just talking about a second ago. Plus 14 on the night. Started all the way down to 19th place. He's in the top 5.
Looks like Corey Cook having a little bit of issues here. Maybe some handling problems as we see Brian Littleton starting to come up on him, and Travis Manning followed right behind him. Looks like he's having some handling issues, but another interesting spot on the racetrack is the race between 6th and 7th here. Applebee, Craig Johnson. You mentioned about them in the playoff schemes here. Really an important battle to keep an eye on.
Particularly for Kyle Labrie, who is coming into this race on the bubble, only 4 points to the good, and Craig Johnson needing those 4 points over Kyle Labrie. So far, Labrie's been involved in 1 wreck tonight, but he does remain ahead, crucially, of Craig Johnson. So provided that Hoffman doesn't get this race win tonight and secures his ticket in and bumps Labrie out, Kyle Labrie, the way it sits right now, would be safe into the round of 6.
Oh, big wiggle there from the 26.
Oh,
26 around. That is a caution. 61. Big contact with the 61.
Wow.
The 26 is flipping multiple times, dozens of times. Wow, I have never seen a flip like that at Bristol. That is insanity.
Physics.exe has left the chat effectively. That was an insane wreck. I think to say that Eduardo Oliveira's night is over is a bit of an understatement. The hit began when Corey Cook, the flip began when Corey Cook hit him, and the back end of Oliveira came around and slammed into Cook, and that just kicked the thing over into a series of rolls. You saw it right there. Back it was around, and it starts to just tumble down the back straightaway. That's got to be, what, 5, 6, 7 rolls right there? Lands on all 4s. But that was a huge hit for Oliveira, and that is going to effectively end it. Unfortunately for Corey Cook, he is the one that took the whole brunt of that. I want to get a look on board of this, if I can, from Seth Hollander. Because, my God, that man is a lucky son of a gun.
I'd definitely be interested to see that, too. I mean, wow, what an instant there.
It's coming around turn 4 now. We're on board with Hollander. Oliveira's going to be size in front of him. Look at the gap. Open up and just shoots through. That's luck right there. Hollander had no time to react. If any one of those cars was not where they were, he was also getting involved with that wreck.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse. That could have been one that, you know, really backed up everybody. You know, almost like one of those parking garage things where you back up a parking garage. You can all be sitting there for a little bit.
Well, we've seen it before. The good news is I don't believe any playoff drivers were involved in that wreck, just Corey Cook and Eduardo Oliveira. Oliveira obviously out for the night. Chad Sullivan, by the way, has also pulled his car off. He is done for the night. So is John Ballew. So you got a lot of drivers that are out early on. A couple of guys are still on course, but that being said, it's been a rough ride out there for a lot of the guys in the field. It's going to be under 20 laps to go when we take the green flag. Do we get another caution before we end stage 2? When we were in the situation at the end of stage 1, we did make it green, but we had a couple of close calls.
Yeah, I think the longer we're going here, I think a lot of these guys getting really frustrated. I mean, looking at, you know, some of these guys with damage, I mean, surprised to see Seth Hollander. He's in 10th right now, and he literally does not have a back or front end.
He's one of those guys that was collected up in the first caution on the night. He's been slowly climbing his way up since then, running the discount modified, as I like to call it. Now, at Bristol, believe it or not, Brian, you can lead a race like that. I have seen people lead up to 60, 70 laps running the car exactly like Seth Hollander has. Like, there's no problems.
Hey, there might be a benefit to it. Might be some type of advantage that we don't know about.
I mean, aerodynamics are certainly not going to be helped. They've been kicked in the head with the result of that design. But, I mean, hey, if it works, it works. I mean, I guess the car's lighter, question mark?
I don't know. That's probably, I don't know for sure. But it's going to be an interesting restart here, getting ready to go back green. And I think a lot of guys are still hungry out there. I don't think we're done. I think we're going to have some more incidents. I feel like these guys, you know, the cautions breed cautions. That's something we're all pretty much taught.
Cautions breed cautions. That's been the story of Stage 2 so far. Justin Levine can lead the field once again back to the green, trying to sweep the stages. Green flag's back out. Levine gets that good launch. And we are underway. Oh, already trouble behind! Another car slides! And it's Randy Drummiller to the inside wall. Didn't even make it to turn 1 this time.
Oh, my word. I don't know if I'm cursing these guys, but I felt like that was coming.
Well, I just heard it over the radio. Randy Drummiller made the rookie mistake, so to speak. He shifted into first instead of third. That is a very quick way to get that back end to come around on you.
100%, especially at this racetrack. I mean, it's already hard to keep it underneath you anyway, and yep, you can see totally that's what happened there. Surprised the caution came out for that, considering, you know, he was down there on the apron.
Well, it happened for Brian Johnson. He was further down. He was in the pit barrels, and the caution came out for that, so...
Very interesting, yeah. Might be something to do with some of the updates that maybe have recently came out, you know, to maybe help some of these guys that, you know, do wreck down onto the apron.
Well, of course, it has been a race of attrition tonight, and no driver can say more to that than Corey Cook, who was collected a couple of cautions ago. Now, Corey, you were at the center of all of that, and you had a face full of Eduardo Oliveira. What did all that look like from your perspective?
Well, going back from the replay, looks like one car up in about top 5 or so got loose from middle out of turn 1 and 2, I believe it was. He did his best to save it, obviously. No one's just going to spin their car out. But he overcorrected and hit the outside wall, and, well, he was kind of alone for the ride. And by the time I saw him and got on the brakes, I was already committed. There was nothing I could do.
It's a very tight track, and that note has been playing into some of the attrition, but the caution count has been a bit higher than I think any of us were really expecting coming into tonight. What do you think has been contributing to that?
I think it's a tight race car all around, from what I've noticed. I think it doesn't matter how loose you try to get your car to be, it's just going to be tight, and that's honestly kind of strange, because I remember Bristol for being mighty loose, especially on exit.
We've seen a bit of looseness already tonight, but it tends to be more on corner entry. So no doubt some of the updates of the car are playing into a role in this. I have seen you rejoin the session. Are you going to see if you can maybe pop back into the car and just log a few extra points?
Not really in it for points. I still got 30 minutes of required. I might go back out there, try to get what I can, but kind of was in it for a win. Obviously, that ain't going to happen. We'll see.
Well, whatever the case, you were driving a good race, and you were looking set for a good finish tonight. So, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out for helping you to be fast up to that caution?
VRS setups for just providing with the setups. They usually provide with, every now and then you're going to get a bad setup, but that's any service you're going to have. But I like that they provide the telemetry and coaching if you want to try that. They got setups for Oval Road, so just thanks to those guys.
And thank you, Corey, for offering to take the time on up and help us fill some of the air during some of these cautions. Best of luck, hopefully, going forward in the coming weeks.
10-4, thank you.
That was Corey Cook, driver of the number 61 machine. Unfortunately, got caught up 2 cautions ago in that wild wreck with Eduardo Oliveira, one of the, I want to say, more violent crashes I've seen at Bristol in a very long time. But pace car lights are out. 9 laps to go in stage number 2, Brian. Should be a fun one.
100%. I mean, this is going to be probably even crazier than what we've seen thus far, considering, how close we are to the end of this stage. I mean, this is a shootout for these guys. They're looking short-term. They're not looking long-term. Some guys, I think, that do look long-term are going to be the ones that really get the good payment here at the end of this whole entire race here. But look at that start there. Justin Levine able to get clear of Heath Snyder. Snyder looking pretty strong, though. And look at Hoffman. Hoffman going to try to make something happen here. Like you said, he really needs to have the perfect race here tonight.
If he does not win, he is going to be out of the playoffs. That is a guaranteed fact after he dropped not once but twice at Richmond Raceway, along with 5 other drivers that experienced similar misfortunes. Verstappen was the only driver that ended up dropping out twice. So it's a tough run for Clayton Hoffman. He had dominated the regular season, but he is having a rough ride so far in the round of 8. But who knows? You got to win, and you can reset and try it again in round number 6.
I mean, after what we've seen thus far here tonight, I mean, who's to tell if he's going to win or not? I mean, he could very well do it. I mean, if he's just able to last longer than these other guys, and we've seen a lot of problems here tonight, I feel like it's well within reason he can win this thing, especially over once this stage is over. I mean, they can make some adjustments on that race car, get them where they need to be.
5 laps to go in stage number 2, side by side further behind. Travis Manning still working his way out to the field, completing the pass, or trying to on Craig Johnson. That 83 car, though, really fighting the top side, and Manning loose on the bottom side, but manages to bring it back under him.
They are fighting hard for positions right now. I don't know if it's going to end up well, as Manning does get clear of the floor of Brian Johnson. And surprised that Johnson doesn't feel some type of way about Travis Manning, considering he did cause him to have an accident.
And Manning going to try to pick another one up on Craig Johnson this time by coming down to turns 3 and 4, excuse me. Meanwhile, pit road closes up in the battle for the race lead. Stage ends at the end of lap number 100. And it's going to be a fun one. Travis Manning still working on Craig Johnson, trying to get past that 83 car before the yellow flag flies, with the 22 car stepping out all sorts of loose. I think Craig Johnson will just be able to hold on, but up in front, Justin Levine has absolutely no competition for him up at the front. He'll come around turns 3 and 4, and it's Justin Levine to sweep stages 1 and 2.
I'm telling you what, Schaffner has got to be thanking the race gods, considering, he could have went a lap down there if there was more laps. What a performance.
A great performance indeed. And from all the drivers necessarily that managed to avoid all the attrition that took place in stage 2. Well, that is going to be it for the second stage on the race. And we'll be back in just a few moments with stage number 3 from the Applebee's Bar and Grill 250 at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Justin Levine has swept both stages so far. He is trying to go for a race win now. That is the next step up the road. Except out of pit road, guess who's lined it up beside him? It is Clayton Hoffman, who, like we've been saying all night long, desperately needs a stage win if he wants to secure his ticket into the round of 6.
You know, it's a really crazy call, though. Josh Schaffner, Josh R. Ward. I mean, both of those guys staying out. I mean, we saw Josh Schaffner getting ready to go a lap down right before this stage end, and he's staying out. I don't know if that's a very good call.
You never know. You never know with some of these drivers. I mean, to be fair, it has been an insane race. I'd argue one of the craziest races we have seen so far in the season already. This is, I believe, caution number 9 now. That is including stage cautions. It's been a rather entertaining one, I think it's safe to say. And no doubt, that yellow flag, we're going to be seeing it a little bit more as the night goes on.
Yeah, I think so. But then again, I mean, the attrition at some point is going to plateau to where there's not going to be too many guys that get caught up in wrecks. So I think at some point we will see a long green run. I just think that, you know, right now these guys just haven't got it out of their system quite yet. What do you think, Nolan?
I have to agree with you on that one. It takes a while to be able to get, you know, the ants out of your system here to be able to successfully make, you know, a good race like this. But, you know, with all this in mind, you got a new guy who has not raced in the ICA before, on pole, on used tires. And he has got a whole field hunting behind him. You got Josh Schaffner, who's been involved in a few wrecks tonight. He needs a good finish tonight to secure his ticket into the round of 6. You've got Justin Levine, who is, you know, he's also had a bit of an interesting run, but has so far been able to make himself clean. He is also secured in the round of 6. Green flag flies. What will become a stage number 3? Only one way to find out. We're back on the way at Bristol.
I'm definitely a little worried for Josh Ward. I mean, I know if I was in his shoes, I would be an anxious mess. But look at Justin Levine, able to make some moves here, trying to get past Josh Schaffner. Can he make the pass on Josh Ward, though? And Ward, I mean, these guys, even though they stayed out on older tires, they're not doing bad. I mean, they don't seem very unpredictable. And that's what you really want to see, I mean, when you come to a guy that's on older tires.
Levine clears for the lead. It's still a battle out behind. Heath Schneider also clears for P number 2. And that leaves Kyle O'Brien to pick up third. So Josh Ward is falling back, but not as much as I think we might have expected, you know, in the early run of the things. I know we're having a few frame rate troubles so far throughout the stream, so I do want to apologize right now. We are working as best as we can to get those solved. And
oh, Roy Hyde around!
Oh, big time. Out of turn 4. Good call. I didn't even see that. I got into it with Hollander.
Big contact there between the 10 and the 13. It looked like, I do believe, I mean, Roy Hyde was trying to go underneath Schaffner, and then I don't think I think he just got loose because he was asking too much of his tires there, trying to, you know, Bristol's one thing, you can't really change lines in the corner like that, so that definitely did not end up well for him. Considering I think he got loose, and that's what caused Hollander to get into him.
Yeah, you're right. He got way loose, and that started to bring the back end around. I thought Hollander just drove through him, but you're correct. He got slightly loose, and that kind of sent him down into Hollander's path, and Hollander didn't have time to avoid him. Thankfully, they really got collected.
Yeah, it was just really those two. Really, I mean, everybody else seemed to work their way around. Even Littleton looked like he was going to hit Roy Hyde, but did not. So that worked out really well, and hopefully Roy Hyde can get back into this thing. I mean, you know, doesn't seem like he sustained too much damage out of that ordeal.
I know I saw one driver going to the outside wall trying to avoid him. I think it was one of those bluer cars that's out there. I believe it was Paul Regney in the 59 that went into the outside wall trying to avoid him, as you just took a look on board from Seth Hollander's view a little while ago, showing that he really didn't have a whole lot he could have done. I mean, we heard it from Corey Cook. When you go into one of these corners, you are absolutely committed. It's not a simple case of just changing a line like that, because at a track this tight, you're almost certainly going to find yourself sliding up either in front of somebody else or going straight into, you know, the wall. I mean, you cannot change lanes as much as you would like.
Oh, definitely not. That's what I was saying the problem was. I think that Roy was trying to be a little bit more flexible when it came to, you know, trying to get around, I do believe, Schaffner. Like I said, Schaffner, you know, on the old tires, of course he's going to be slow. He's going to try to find a way around him and just ask too much of his equipment. I mean, that's just, you know, Bristol bites you if you ask too much. That's for sure.
The fuel window is about 116 laps under green. If they get a few more cautions, though, we get pushed past that 116 mark, then we should be able to be clear. Just going to try to do some quick math here. See about what lap they'd have to get to be safe on fuel to the end.
Yeah, I feel like even with the fuel concerns here, I don't think that's really on a lot of these guys' mind right now. I feel like mainly pitting is such a killer here at this racetrack, considering how short this track is. I mean, especially under green. I mean, even under caution, if you're not close enough to that leader and you pit, you could lose a lap.
So the math comes in. They need to make it to lap 134 to be safe to the end on fuel. You can make it to about 134 to 140. They're going to be good to go to the end of this race. Now, we're at lap 116 now. Lap 115. My bad on that one. One lap too far ahead. But with 1 to green, you make it another 21 or so laps, and you're going to be good to the end on fuel. And at that point, you just got to focus on survival.
100%. I mean, that's really going to be the main thing here, survival, and trying to. Hopefully, we do see a couple more cautions to make that fuel work. If not, we could see green flag pit stops. Could this be the time that these guys clean this up? Could very well be. We never know. I mean, anytime you ever plan for something, it doesn't go your way here as the pace car dips off.
Pace car's into pit road. Levine off and away, but look at Heath Schneider with the run around the outside line. Levine not getting a kneel. He's going to belong to the line alive. Heath Schneider, being a frontline teammate, is going to back off and allow Levine to take that spot up and will maintain the race lead. How about Clayton Hoffman, though, looking to make the battle work for third place? Back up onto the podium is the 92.
Yeah, but I have such a good run on that high side. I think that high side is really coming in now, as he tries to chase down Heath Schneider. I feel like he's got more speed than Heath on the longer run, so we're going to have to wait and see how this all unfolds.
This time the field single files out really, really quickly, all the way back to about the 11th position is where you got this leading train. The only side-by-side battle is further behind with Seth Hollander and Grevichinsky, but they are on very different laps from each other. So that's not a battle for position. So it looks like we're going to be set to maybe clean this race up a little bit more. We'll see if we can get some longer green flag runs in here. The way it sits right now, there is still plenty of space to make that fuel window, play a big factor should this race go green for a longer period of time.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some guys out there that could maybe try to save, especially the guys that pitted more recently, to make that happen. I don't think you can save that much, though. I mean, the only guy, Seth Hollander, maybe Paul Regney or somebody who pitted on lap 114 could maybe make that, stretch that out. I just don't think it's going to ever happen, though.
You can maybe stretch out, 2 or 3 laps, if that. You're not going to be able to stretch out 40 laps. I mean, I know it's a short track, but it's not going to happen.
I mean, you're going to be so slow even if you were able to save it. I mean, I just don't think you're going to be able to do that for sure as we see Hoffman trying to work his way up to the aid of Heath Schneider. I mean, he's making some ground up here and definitely leaving Applebee back there in the dust.
He certainly is, and that's not good news necessarily for Kyle Labrie, who, of course, needs every spot he can to make sure he remains safe into this thing, but it's even worse news for Hoffman, because Hoffman has not been able to get past Heath Schneider up here, and this battle for second is critical. Hoffman needs to win. He does not have the points gap. Oh, he might get it here. Heath Schneider!
Oh, my word!
Slide! Oh, he's in the outside
caution.
wall! Oh, no! Brian Johnson collected. The 52 gets into it as well. And that's the caution. This might be huge for Hoffman. He's on the outside line for this restart if he starts P2. And this means he could find himself up in the race lead.
Wow, what an incident there. That collected a lot of cars there, surprisingly more than you think. But, wow, what an incident there. And that is going to make it a little bit more easier for these guys to make it on fuel. I still don't think they're going to make it, though.
I don't think they will either. They're going to be about 5-10 laps short. You cannot make it to the end on fuel. Not just yet. But what an incident. And that was all by himself. Heath Schneider just lost the back end and overcorrected. That's all that happened there for the number 8 car. And Hoffman gets through unscathed. This is really big, because if Hoffman can start up here in P number 2, that is going to mean he'll have the outside line, which is where he wants to be. Heath Schneider obviously comes down pit road. The leaders, though, staying out for the meantime. So this is really critical here in terms of championship battles, in terms of race battles. Quite a few guys came down, but most of those drivers that came down were guys that were already had damage or were a lap down. It's never a pretty sight when you have to have a lot of cars come down for damage like this, but I mean, hey, the leaders are all staying out. That's a strategy call if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that definitely is a gamble in a lot of ways, thinking that, there's going to be another caution, and we're not in the fuel window yet. So I feel like these guys are, taking that gamble a little bit, rolling the dice.
You're not going to win races if you're not willing to take risks.
100%. I mean, definitely. I mean, whatever you think is going to net you the best results, that's what you got to do, and that's what these crews are doing.
So what's the plan now? You know you can't make it to the end on fuel. I think the question that these guys are having at the moment is where are they at with tire sets? Now, most of these guys have only come down 2 or 3 times up here in 6th place. 5th and 6th have come down 3 times so far this race, but the top 4 have only come down twice. They have enough sets to easily split the tires up from here to the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need to do, too, to try to save, as much tire. Look at Travis Manning, though. Definitely interested to see that he's up in the top 4 again. I mean, we've seen him try to race his way back after that, speeding penalty. What are these guys going to do, when Travis Manning comes knocking on their door?
They're probably going to try to barricade him, but we've seen him before. Travis Manning is not afraid to get his hands dirty. He'll bring a battering ram with him.
Yeah, he definitely will. I mean,
he'll probably bring a cannon.
I'm curious to see. I mean, for sure, I must have been playing Too Much Civilization. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but I mean, yeah, I definitely feel like he's got a cannon versus some guys that are just carrying stones.
Yeah, use the riflemen up against the guys with spears.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that plays that. But this is going to be a good race here. I feel like, Hoffman, he's got a good chance, especially with Manning right behind him, too. I mean, if Manning is patient enough, I think he could help out Hoffman a little bit here. Maybe give him a little push. I mean, you hate to think about pushing at Bristol, but I feel like Travis would be the man to make that work.
3 of the guys here in the top 5 are frontline. 2 of them are G&G. And one of these guys in G&G is desperately in need of a race win. Green flag drops. Justin Levine is clean and green. Hoffman caught napping a little bit there. Not good news for Hoffman, but he'll clear. Good for 2nd place. That's going to leave him with no competition to try to run down your race leader, Justin Levine. That 92 car, he's coming up in a hurry.
He definitely is. He was like right around the bottom there, having a lot of momentum. I mean, he's got a very good handling car right now, even though he has some tire wear on that race car. It looks like he's got Levine pretty much well covered up. I mean, if he could just get a line, I think the top line would really be the best thing. I mean, we've seen Levine be successful at that. I think that maybe Hoffman needs to break out his own tools against him.
For now, Hoffman's going to follow Levine around. I have a feeling he's waiting for another yellow flag before he tries to go for this properly. He wants to see if he can maybe get that yellow flag right about when you can make it to the end on fuel, at which point he's going to come down. And then he doesn't need to necessarily pit for the rest of the race unless he wants to come down for tires, which is obviously could be a huge deciding factor later on in this race, depending on how drivers want to gamble out their tire sets. But for the time being, once again, it is looking like everything is looking set to settle on out. Single file pretty much all the way throughout the field, except for one pairing further down the order, but it's not necessarily a battle, it's for position, and certainly not between 2 guys that are, fighting for championship positions.
Well, one person I really got to shout out deserves it more than anybody, probably, Kenny Powell. I mean, he's out there without a hood, and he's right there in 6th place. I mean, look at that. I mean, that just shows you, I mean, even though he sustained pretty major damage, I mean, surviving, it really is worth it.
Well, he's one of those drivers that needs to finish the race tonight. He is in the playoffs, and he is not safe on points, especially if Hoffman ends up taking a win here. Now, that being said, he is about 15.5 points, if I'm reading this right, to the good on Josh Schaffner. So he's got some wiggle room to work with. The real threat does come for Josh Schaffner. Now, the way it looks right now, Schaffner would be in, and Labrie would be in. And Craig Johnson, he would be out, as would Hoffman. If Hoffman gets the win, though, that puts Kyle Labrie out, and then it's an 8.5 point gap between Kyle Labrie and Josh Schaffner, which becomes the effective battle for that final, playoff spot. And the way it sits right now, though, despite Labrie being ahead, Schaffner would still get the position.
Well, that's definitely very interesting here as we're watching Hoffman. I mean, he's not able to catch up to Levine right now. I mean, he's under fire right now from Kyle Labrie. Oh, kind of a wiggle off the corner there. I think Hoffman is struggling right now, Nolan.
He didn't come into the last pit stop to get tires or fuel, and you're right, he did bobble ever so slightly. He's also opening that top line more and more for Kyle Labrie. If I'm Hoffman, I'm going to the top side to cover it off, because Kyle Labrie is trying to use that outside line to his advantage, but I don't think Hoffman's wanting to go to the top side because he is getting so loose on into these corners. If you get loose on the bottom side, you got to at least wash your way up the track a little bit to recover it, but if you're on the outside line, you start to get loose, you're kind of screwed. You're going to go to the outside wall. Here comes Labrie, though, diving to the inside of Clayton Hoffman, trying to put that 92 car back down to third.
Yeah, definitely very difficult to make that, pass on the bottom, though, considering you're just not able to extend the momentum outside of the corner. And I think the more these guys fight side by side, the more this is going to set this up for Travis Manning, as he is working his way up there. And I'm telling you, Justin Levine probably really happy to see these guys battling back here, because that's just going to allow him to extend his gap now to a second.
Now, it's not like Levine needs a win. He's already secured his one win. He's just trying to go for some bragging rights. How about Labrie with the send on Hoffman into turn number 1? Didn't work out, though. Labrie washed out way too much and had to drop back to P number 3. So Clayton Hoffman still clear out for second place into turn number 1 on lap 147. Now, this is it here. These guys are now safe if they come down pit road to make it to the end on fuel. They are now within that window where they can come on down and be safe to the end.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a caution could very easily come out. I mean, considering we've seen these guys, Clayton and Kyle, and Manning, all right there with one another. I mean, could easily make a mistake there. And we see Levine. I mean, he's passing lap traffic here. I do believe that is Paul Regney. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, especially at Bristol with lap traffic. I mean, we've seen traffic in of itself be very difficult for some of these guys to negotiate through.
Labrie is still hunting down Hoffman. That 9 car is trying to do everything he can to get away past the 92 car. And sooner or later, something has to give. It's not going to be long before something happens here. Labrie going to try it again in the turn 3. Hoffman holding strong.
I mean, he could very well get tight one of these times, especially dealing with lap traffic. I mean, there's Paul Regney there. This could cause some issues here, as it looks like, I mean, look at that. Hoffman able to use Regney to slow down Labrie.
Good work on Hoffman to be able to utilize that lap car as a pick, but it's not going to last. Kyle Labrie has shown that he is the faster of those two drivers. The problem is he just hasn't been able to get back past. And passing at Bristol, it's a multi-lap thing. It's going to take you at least one lap. You'll be able to fully make a pass, complete a pass. And you have to really work on setting that up several laps in advance. You can't just send one down the inside and make it work. Not unless you want to put one of you guys into the wall, if not both of you.
Well, I'll tell you someone who's utterly dominating this event right now. 2.7 seconds is his lead. Justin Levine looking like a champ out here. I mean, he's won Stage 1 and Stage 2. He's poised to win this thing, too. I mean, he is looking really good. I mean, because these guys have been racing each other, I mean, Hoffman and Labrie, it has allowed him to really put this together. And, we'll have to see how this next pit stop really affects that. I think it could very well change who could win this race. I mean, depending on if you do it right or not. I mean, going to be very interesting to see how this all turns out. I mean, it is chess match that we're watching at the last great Coliseum.
Chess at over 100 miles an hour. It's always a very terrifying prospect. There's not one point where these guys have dipped below 110. If they're hitting highs of, we're talking 145, sometimes as high as 150 when they're on fresh rubber, it is not an easy task to be able to control your car on a track that's this tight at that speed, let alone then try to pass and battle with other drivers. And we are seeing two different dynamics and lines opening up here. Hoffman's taking the bottom side, while Labrie and Manning are both taking the top. Now, Labrie's able to get such a good drive out of turn number 2 and 4 that he gets right to the back bumper of Hoffman, but he's never close enough because Hoffman's taking that shorter line to be able to actually go for a pass.
Yeah, really need to just get that high side away from him. I mean, just like Levine did earlier. I mean, you really just have to nose your way in there. I mean, just not something he's really willing to do. It didn't seem like, and Travis Manning able to take advantage of this. So let's see what Manning can do here.
Front line decided to switch it up. Labrie finally says, yep, I'm not able to do anything. You have your crack at it. And Travis Manning, look at how much more speed the 22 car has. This is not even a contest. Manning to the inside of Hoffman into turn number 1 and completes the pass out of 2. Travis Manning really asserted dominance over this battle for second place, and he is going to get set to rocket away with that second place now.
Yeah, I feel like he's been saving. I don't feel like he's been running very hard. I feel like he's just been patiently waiting behind Labrie. And I think that's really adding to, his performance right now. I feel like, he hasn't been using as much tire as everyone else.
Could not agree with you more. Sometimes you just got to save your stuff up. And he's been running in behind his teammate all this time, saving those tires and kind of following in his line and using the rubber that he's been putting down. And that's allowed him to carry so much more speed. And, of course, there's still a long way between himself and the race leader as well. But I don't think we're going to see Steve Manning really battle it out with your race leader for the race win. They are teammates, after all.
Yeah, I feel like Levine's got such a cover on it right now. I mean, they're running. Actually, Levine last time by ran faster than Travis, so definitely, I feel like they're both fast, but I think Levine's got he's been dominant all night long. There's been no one faster than him.
Under 100 laps remaining, and this has now been the longest green flag run that we have seen yet today. It was a run that we were wondering if it would ever come, but it looks like it certainly has. And of course, your race leader, now a third of the track in front of Travis Manning. Justin Levine has just been dominating the race weekend so far. 5.2 seconds last time by at the line. These are 15-second lap times, remember. So that is a lifetime. We're talking by the time Levine exits turn 4, Mandy is only entering turn 3.
Yeah, and the thing is that Levine is really, he's passing a lot of cars. I mean, there's a lap down right now. He just passed, Mark Sanchez, the 31. He's in 11th place. That puts everyone that's not in the top 10 a lap down right now. And soon to be, he's probably going to go to Brian Littleton's going to go a lap down here shortly, too.
And Justin Levine has just been on it all night long. He came into this race, and I didn't expect much from Levine, to be honest. Starting in 11th position, that's almost right actually around that mid-pack with a 14.443, 10th and a half of a second off of Josh Schachter. But you've seen how he has dominated Stage 1. He worked his way all the way up to the lead to win Stage 1 from 11th place. And then he led all of Stage 2. And now he has been leading all of Stage 3 so far, and nobody has been able to challenge him. Putting Brian Littleton a lap down, that's going to put only 9 cars now out there on the lead lap. So Justin Levine is continuing to put more and more distance on the field and showing that he really wants to win this thing. Again, he doesn't need it. He's already secure into the round of 6. It's just bragging rights. How about Travis Manning coming down pit road this time by? This is big here. Remember, it's single pit roads. You need to enter via turn 2 and exit via turn 1. This means you're going to be going down at least 4, 5 laps even if you come down under green.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to. If the caution doesn't come out, and it didn't look like it's going to, I mean, I feel like this is a smart call for Travis Manning. I feel like going down a little bit earlier than him, maybe gaining a little bit of track position when he's forced to go down, I think it might, he's got to throw everything at it. I mean, I think it's a good call.
Does Manning take tires? He does. Travis Manning putting fresh rubber on. Remember, we've been green so far since that last restart, and you are not able to make it to the end when we last came to green. Now, Travis Manning is going to be able to make it to the end from here on fuel, and he has taken a fresh set of rubber with him. Looks like he'll be trying to maybe go for a really big undercut on Justin Levine, try to gain all that time on fresh tires. I know Seth Hollander just came down a pit road, but he is a few laps down himself, so he's on his own little pit strategy. I think I also saw the 52 machine coming on down as well. Josh Warden from the 13th position. He was already, 1 lap down, but still fighting with drivers, not collecting a lot of incidents. He's just been doing this all by himself. Josh Schachter also announced that he is coming in this time by.
I feel like it'd be a good call for Clayton Hoffman to go ahead and bring it down, too. I mean, you see all these other guys going down. I mean, and you're kind of suffering here. You're not gaining much here on Levine. I mean, you got to do what you got to do here. Try to make a different call.
So Schaffner's in.
But what an interesting thing here. I mean, now only 4 guys on the lead lap. Only people who have not pitted yet. Justin Levine, Hoffman, Kyle Labrie, Kenny Powell.
And it's only a matter of time before all these drivers come on in as well. We know they cannot make it to the end on fuel. They have to come in at some point. And at the moment, Josh Ward is trying to lap Kenny Powell, or unlap himself and Kenny Powell on fresh tires. Now, Josh Ward is now 4 laps down. The question is, where is, I think, Travis Manning? He is 3 laps down. Now, if Travis Manning gets a caution now, his race is effectively over. He will not be able to go for a win. There's no way you're crawling back 3 laps to win this race. Not unless something really bad happens up to the guys in front. I know Manny's about to take 1 lap back here. He's right behind Justin Levine. So Manny is going to get 1 position here. And there is Josh Schaffner coming out of the pits. This is about their position, by the way. It is Josh Schaffner at the moment, I believe, versus Travis Manning. I'm going to take that one back here. It looks like they might actually be on different laps, and in fact, they are. So Travis Manning going to be lapping Josh Schaffner here. My mistake. Kyle Labrie's in, though.
I feel like Levine's making a mistake staying out so long here. You can see the difference in speed here. I feel like, all those other guys that went down, I think maybe that should have been a call for him to go down also. I feel like he might be suffering here a little bit because, look at all this traffic we're seeing out here. Different tires. I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. Maybe he should stay out considering, these guys, there's more chance of a caution right now.
I think that's why Levine hasn't come in yet. He's hoping for a caution. Because remember, that traps basically every one of his competitors.
Oh, we might see it here. Oh. Roy Hyde loses it.
Oh, save it. He saved that thing, though. The 13 car stays in it.
Wow, that was scary. I thought that was literally going to be our caution. Could have changed everything.
And that had contact, too. Came right across Randy Drumheller out of turn 4 and turned himself.
Justin Levine is down pit road right now.
It's about to get interesting now. Levine is in pit road. Paul Regney, I think, is out of fuel. He's coming down pit road.
And
in fact, he
Hoffman
is.
Right now in the lead, but being challenged, I do believe. Travis Manning is multiple more laps down than him, so he's trying to get that lap back. Looks like he's going to do that.
Brian Littleton's in pit road. So is Kenny Powell. That moves Clayton Hoffman up to the race lead now, but Hoffman is yet to pit. And he is clutching, coasting. Craig Johnson also is yet to come on down. So does Roy Hyde and Randy Drumheller. Oh my gosh. Schaffner goes through and unlaps himself. Hoffman's going to be going down quite a bit of time here at this rate if he doesn't come in now.
Yeah, this is definitely very interesting. A lot of these guys are really gambling. I think they're gambling really hard right now for a caution. And I don't think it's going to come. I think some of these guys are going to get, left out to dry here for waiting so long to go down pit road. And it might be Hoffman. I mean, if a caution doesn't come out, Hoffman's not looking too good right now.
You have to gamble in a race like this, especially if you're in a position like Clayton Hoffman is. Justin Levine retaking his lap. He's back on the lead lap now, so Hoffman is going to guarantee lose a lap here, especially with how he's clutching coast in every single corner. And his lap times, they are over a second so far off of what Justin Levine is running. So at this rate, Levine's going to catch him here within the next, we're talking 10, 15 laps here. Hoffman is begging for a caution right now.
And that's why, you can't really question what Travis Manning did. I mean, he's doing really well, too. I mean, he's in front of Levine. But, I mean, I think Levine definitely has the advantage right now because he has newer tires than Manning. And look at that, Robert Pattengale. I haven't seen him very much. He's up in 5th right now.
Of course, Robert Pattengale, among others, has still yet to come down pit road as well. Pattengale's been kind of running a quiet race so far. Just been all by his lonesome so far. Hasn't really been able to get into a lot of battles himself. I know he has got Justin Levine right behind him, and I imagine he's going to let the 19 car through that much of a fuss. I mean, he's just going to move to the outside line to let him through. And that doesn't surprise me. I mean, Robert Pattengale still has to come down and pit, and that's the race leader. Effectively the race leader, at least in net terms. Why would you, want to hold him up like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when you don't have a lot of pace. I mean, a lot of guys, they definitely want to fight for that, lead lap. You don't want to stay on the lead lap. You don't want that guy to lap you. So, I mean, I definitely understand if you fight him, but if you don't have the pace, I mean, why even try? I mean, might as well, you don't want to end up on his, bad list. But
Still
Clayton
waiting on
Hoffman
the-
right now still kind of fighting a little bit here. He's got the 61 underneath him making that pass. So, I mean, he's not having a good time right now. I'm curious if a caution's going to come out here. I mean, to save him. I think that's what he really needs.
That's the only reason why he would have stayed out this long. He wants a caution, and he needs a caution at this point. Otherwise, he could be losing a lap here on pit road. He has already lost so much time as it is. I mean, you got guys like, you got just Levine who's running you down. He's on fresh rubber and with enough fuel to make it to the end. You still have to come down pit road, and you lose at least 2 laps on pit road, and you got guys all the way back to 7th place that are only 1 down. That tells me that Hoffman is going to lose at least a full lap here if he comes down pit road now. So will Craig Johnson, who's running at 2nd at the moment.
Well, he's definitely having a lot of problems. I mean, just looking at his race car, you know, after that last corner, I mean, he's getting very loose. I feel like his car is at its limits. Craig Johnson not even that far in front of our leader right now, Hoffman. So kind of crazy to see that our second place driver might go a lap down here from Hoffman if Hoffman does not pit here soon.
Under 50 laps to go, Robert Pattengale finally makes his trip down to pit road in the 17 car. Not really surprised there to see Robert Pattengale coming off a little bit off cycle from everybody else. We already knew that he was on his own, a bit of his own strategy, running his own little race in the back.
Well, I'll tell you what, the real race for the lead here just happened. Justin Levine able to get past Travis Manning.
Oh no! That makes it official. Clayton Hoffman, he is losing not 1, but 2 laps at least now. Under the next time he comes down pit road, the only way his race and in fact now his championship is saved is by a caution coming out before he has to come down pit road.
That's so sad too. I mean, Hoffman deserves the championship. I mean, he has been so good. I mean, such a consistent driver. I mean, he's definitely still been consistent here tonight, but I hate to see him have to come down to such, you know, dire circumstances.
Had things gone differently at Darlington, it might have been different. It unfortunately didn't, though. Darlington didn't go his way. Richmond certainly didn't go his way. What a shame. What a shame for him. I mean, he was doing so well. Greg Baczynski coming down pit road himself. He's among the last drivers to come on down. I believe that just leave Clayton Hoffman, Craig Johnson, and Seth Hollander. Check that Roy Hyde. Those 3 drivers have yet to come down pit road, and they are not safe to the end.
Yeah, very interested to see Roy Hyde staying out like he is. It looks like he may be one of those guys, too, that looking for a caution. And it looks like, you know, one still could happen. I feel like, you know, that is something that still could take place.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a caution at Bristol is never far away. It's going to take one guy to push a foot too wide out of one of these corner exits or brake just a little bit too late, and that is going to kick off a chain reaction that will bring out our next yellow flag. But the only question is, when does that happen? And does it even happen?
Could very well happen now as we see Clayton Hoffman up high on the wall as Kyle Bree tries to get around as he's double foul with 44. And the more 3 wide here.
Oh,
wow.
That was Craig Johnson.
That was crazy. But, you know, Craig Johnson's looking really good right now. He's in 4th right now, and we were talking about how he really needs to beat Kyle Bree. He's done it.
Now, that being said, he does still have to come down pit road himself, and Kyle Bree is, I believe, set to potentially retake that position from Craig Johnson when they come down pit road.
I'm shocked he can make it this far. I really am shocked that he made it this far, if that's the case.
Well, to be fair, they've only been going to 108 laps on this stint. That was under caution as well, so they could probably make it about another 10 laps yet on the fuel, but you are not making it to the end of this race. We've already established this, you know, well in advance.
100%.
It is impossible to make.
Well, look at this. Pass for the lead, even though Levine, you know, he didn't pass him on pit road here. Hoffman did not pit, and he passed him out on the track. I mean, that just shows you the use of new tires there. Wow, look at that. So Hoffman pretty much dead in the water here. Even if a caution comes out here, I don't think he's going to be looking too good.
Tires are everything on a track like this. And sometimes so is the fuel. Obviously, you don't want to run out of fuel, especially if you're already on pit road, how low the pit road speed limit is. If you run out of, the fuel right when you enter pit road, you're already only going 35 miles an hour. You're not making it back around to your pit stall. It's just an impossible task. As is, trying to save all this to the end. Now, that being said, Roy Hyde has finally made his call to come down to pit road this time by, and he is now leaving his box. That just leaves Hoffman and Johnson to come on down. And I'm surprised I haven't seen either driver come down yet, but at this point, they are committed to open for a caution. They cannot afford, to come down now, especially if a caution comes out as soon as they do.
Yeah, I've been in plenty of races to where, I felt like it was hopeless, but if I had stayed out another lap, caution came out that next lap. It's happened. I mean, it definitely is something that can take place as we see Manning really working his way up to Hoffman. Going to probably make this pass look easy considering the difference of the tires. Just unfortunate for Hoffman. I really was hoping for him to have a strong finish tonight, maybe even win the race, but he definitely is at a very big disadvantage right now. Even, getting loose on the high side there as the 17 tries to get around him. I do believe he is not for position.
So with Levine now in the race lead officially with Travis Manning in second, Clayton Hoffman is guaranteed to, lose everything here. And he can only slip further and further back here to the end. You got 30 laps to go. You're going to go down at least one if you continue to clutch and coast like this. You have to come down pit road anyway under the next caution flag period. Clayton Hoffman tried to gamble here for a yellow flag, and it didn't work. And now he's got to live with the consequences. And unfortunately, it's a very rough consequence he's got to live with. Now, watching his championship hopes just slip away a lap after lap. And he is still lapping over a second slower than the cars in front, and there's nothing he can do about it. He's going to be lapped in about another, 6 laps, and that would just be a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, 100%. I think that pretty much is it. I mean, you look at that, Kenny Powell right there on him. He's about to take that spot from him. Yeah, he's definitely not having a good time right now. I think Kenny will catch him eventually here. I mean, Kenny Powell not doing too bad. I mean, especially when Clayton, pits here. This is going to do a lot for Kenny Powell, even though, he is his teammate, Hoffman. But, still going to look good for him.
Clayton Hoffman finally made the call. The 92 car is in pit road, and with it, the hopes for a championship go up in smoke. The 92 car effectively out of the running this season. Tough break. Seth Hollander goes a lap down, leaving just the two frontline drivers now on the lead lap. Wouldn't it be something for Seth Hollander? You get collected in that first caution with so much damage, still running the discount modified, and you come home to finish third. How about that? That would be something special for the number 10.
Yeah, I think he definitely well-deserved, sticking it out. I think that's a big deal there. Definitely very sad for Hoffman, but I feel like, really this could be an opportunity for growth and learning. I mean, really going to be something that, they go into the next season, they know, what they could have did differently.
"21 laps remaining for Justin Levine up in front. He started 11th place. We didn't think he'd be in this position now. As Craig Johnson makes his call to come down to pit road. With 20 laps to go, though, Levine fought his way up to the lead in just 50 laps in Stage 1, swept Stage 2, and has so far led nearly every lap except for the few that he was in pit road and off cycle in Stage number 3. Levine has dominated the weekend so far, and he's now half a lap ahead of Travis Manning. There is nothing that can stop that number 9 G car, barring some sort of crash.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things he still, that's why I wouldn't say that he's going to win for sure, considering just, that there are so much, much traffic out there, getting around lap traffic and stuff like that. One guy makes the wrong move, it really dash his efforts here. And I feel like he is going to win, but I definitely do not want to, curse him.
It would not be the first time that we've seen something dramatic happen. Don't forget, we had a few seasons ago It looked as though the lead was all set. You had the leader with a gap of 10 seconds over second place. Literally 30 feet before the white flag, a caution flag flew, and he lost the race as a result. It wasn't just Levine. I don't remember who it was, but boy, that was a crazy race. And Bristol always has the potential for something spicy to happen near the end.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is probably the furthest thing from what you see at a plate track, like Talladega or Daytona. But it definitely resembles a lot of what you have to deal with there. I mean, it's so unpredictable on what you could have to deal with. I mean, a lot of times when the wreck happens, it's really where you're at in the field, where you got to worry about it or not. Because, I mean, you're going to come up on it quick. So hopefully your spotter's good. As we see Justin Levine able to get around the 59.
Ay, ay, ay. What a roller coaster of a race it's been, huh?
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely been a roller coaster. I think that's the best way to describe it. And it's still not over. I mean, we're getting really close to the end here. As we see Justin Levine underneath Kenny Powell. But such a gap between the leader and second place. I mean, definitely going to be a learning experience for Travis Manning, I do believe. Next time we come here, he's going to be like, I need to bring my A game, because Justin Levine, I mean, I know they're on the same team, but I mean, this guy, he has such driving ability.
Absolutely. Yeah, Travis Manning is one of those drivers who has been doing such a good job so far throughout the season. It's a good to see him, really fight it on up here, in the Super Cup Series season. But I mean, hey, he'll definitely have the next time round, and I imagine we'll be seeing him coming out in force, when the Super Cup Series season comes around again. He'll be a force to reckon with in the regular Cup Series as well. Don't forget, we are in the regular Cup Series season. It is their season opener. We're not going to be talking about the regular season a whole lot, though, as that will be wrapping up after the Super Cup Series ends. So our attention is so far on that Super Cup Series season, but you come around here with less than 10 laps to go, and you can't help but admire the fact that these guys have managed to run basically throughout nearly all of Stage 3 completely green.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it just takes that attrition sometimes. I mean, it definitely can be very difficult to make it through that, phase of it. And I think that the guys that survived that, those are the ones that are really successful right now. And as we see Hoffman making his way past the leader, get one more lap back. Now he's 2 laps down.
Justin Levine coming out of turn number 4. 5 laps remaining for the number 19 car. The driver who has so far swept the entire race, save for qualifying. Came in late, didn't get any practice laps in, but boy, did he ever have a good time being able to, come on out here and fight hard for a race win. I kind of hasn't handed to him on a silver platter. I mean, he is now, we're talking just 5 seconds away from lapping his own teammate as well.
Yeah, Roy Hyde able to make it around to get 3 laps down on Levine. I think that Levine kind of let him go there. That was very nice of him to do that. I feel like Roy might have been racing him a little bit too hard, considering he's multiple laps down.
Don't fight if you don't need to. Levine's got absolutely nothing to worry about. I mean, what are you going to fight against? There's no one to fight around you.
9 seconds away. Yeah.
9.3 now, so it's been an absolutely thrilling run for Justin Levine. He's had to work through a lot of lap traffic, but I mean, hey, it's going to happen when you get a half mile where you race constantly at over 100 miles an hour. The white flag falls. This race will end under regulation time. Justin Levine started 11th, fought his way to the lead. He won Stage 1. He won Stage 2. He'll sweep the race. And out of turn number 4, it is Justin Levine to win the Applebee's Bar and Grill 250 from Bristol Motor Speedway. And with the cars crossing the line, Clayton Hoffman is out of the championship. And that is huge for Clayton Hoffman. He had dominated the regular season, but he is now out. And as well as this, Craig Johnson is also out of the championship.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to this, I mean, it definitely starts to weigh on some of these guys. I mean, a lot of guys having some heartbreak here tonight. Hate it for them, but someone's got to lose.
Someone always has to lose. There can only be one winner. We'll take a look now at your official ButtKicker post-race results, and what an insane run it was. Justin Levine, your race winner, 9.7 seconds over Travis Manning, the only driver to finish on the lead lap. Seth Hollander in third place with Josh Ward 2 down. In fourth, Josh Schaffner wraps it down the top 5. He'll move on to the round of 6, as will Kenny Powell. Brian Littleton in 7th place. Clayton Hoffman is out after a botched strategy with Mark Sanchez in 9th. Brandon Jumper in 10th with Roy Hyde in 11th. And I'll give the rest of the grid down to you, Brian. Slight technical difficulties there. Kyle Abreu will wrap it up in 12th place with Craig Johnson 13th. Robert Pagale comes back to finish in 14th. Nice run for the 17. Paul Regnian in 15th with Wayne Grossi 16th. Heath Schneider 17th. Brzezinski in 18th. Corey Cook ended up not rejoining the race. He finishes 9-6 down in 19th place with Brian Johnson in 20th. Eduardo Oliveira in 21st. Chad Sullivan and John Ballew round out the 23-car grid here for the Bristol Motor Speedway. Tough break for a lot of the guys out there, but it has been a really good run so far. So with all of this said and done, it is time to now give a chat here with some of the drivers that helped to get us all done. We'll start from the bottom. We'll work our way up. Seth Hollander, you finished 3rd place on the grid. First car 1 lap down, but hey, you crashed in the first caution of the race and ran a discount modified to finish on the podium. Are you kidding me? You're a legend.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. That was a tough race. I hated wrecking when I did. I think it was lap 10. I spun out and I wrecked. I believe Grossi and a couple others. I hate that. Everybody prepares so hard for these races and stuff. But I had a good crew chief, man. Connor Mulligan. He's normally my teammate in these races, but he decided to crew chief for me tonight because Bristol is typically one of my better tracks, and he did a great job, man. He told me to pit for tires when Hoffman was lugging it there a little bit, and it certainly helped out on the track. So I appreciate all the effort from everybody.
Was the car affecting you all that much? Because we saw how much damage you had. You were running with that the entire race, and it really didn't seem to affect you all that much out there.
It wasn't too bad. It didn't affect the handling, which is the big thing at Bristol. And I think the best part was in the center of the corner I could really accelerate off, and I just backed up my corners a little bit, and it worked out good for me. So I couldn't complain too much.
So it's been a solid run for you so far then today. Next week, we go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, back to tracks a bit more draft heavy. What's going to be the plan as we get set to kick off the round of 6?
Oh, man, I love Vegas. I'm not too sure of the plan yet, but I love Vegas. I'm excited to go there, and I'm ready to get it done there.
Well, Seth, it's always a pleasure being able to talk to you. We don't talk to you often enough, I would say, but hey, you got it done tonight. You finished on the podium. Who'd you like to shout out for helping you be fast in your number 10 car?
I just, like I said earlier, I appreciate Connor Mulligan, my crew chief tonight, and everybody, my family out there watching. They watch the broadcast quite a bit, so I appreciate them, and appreciate you guys too as well for putting this league on. Kenny Powell and Nolan, Al, all you guys. You guys do such a great job. And I really appreciate being able to be a part of it.
Thank you, Seth, for being able to come on up and give us a chat after a great race for you that ended up finishing you out in 3rd. Congratulations on a podium finish, and best of luck next week in Vegas.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
So that is going to finish out our 3rd place finisher, but we still got 2 more to talk to. We're going to pass it up now to the only other driver besides your race winner that finished on the lead lap. Brian, you're standing by with Travis Manning.
Well, hello, Travis. Nice to talk to you. I don't know if you remember me, but we definitely I've known you for a while, and what a great race you put on tonight. I mean, do you really think you had a chance to win that thing, or what were you lacking?
Oh, yeah, man. Good to see you, too. It's hard to say. I didn't give myself a fighting chance. Led a majority of the first stage. Justin got by me, and and then from there I was this pit road speeding penalty is just chasing. It's biggest issue I have is just mistakes in race. Made them in Darlington, I made them in Richmond, and here we are again. Same thing. So it's frustrating. I can't say whether I would or wouldn't have had a chance. I mean, Justin was flying, so I mean, it would have been hard if I did have one. But all in all, it was definitely nice to recover from second. It's just frustrating. 3 top 5s, and they're all second places, and two of them are to the same guy. It's getting a little frustrating, but it's definitely good to bring it home in second. Good way to start season 4 off.
Well, especially at a racetrack like this. I mean, it seemed like it was a buzzsaw for everyone out there. I mean, how difficult was it to negotiate around lap traffic out there?
It was hard, especially different tire strategies started to come into play there in the long run. Dirty air is a thing here at Bristol. So you get too close to somebody and you get trapped in that bubble of air, and the car just won't turn. So it definitely makes it hard navigating, and it's hard. Some want to stay low, some want to stay high, and it's just kind of weaving in and out of traffic, praying that you're not going to get caught up in an accident somewhere. But yeah, I mean it's definitely a game changer for sure.
Well, definitely a whole lot of praying out there for sure for you, but you did well, second place. How are you feeling about Vegas coming up?
I feel very, very, very good about Vegas. It's one of my better tracks, one of my more favorite tracks. Always been pretty quick there, so hoping that it stays that way whenever we go there next week, and hopefully we can get out of this. What is it? Runner-up little spell I'm under right now.
Well, hopefully you're able to change it for sure. Great job with your second place finish. Who we shouting out for you tonight after that strong performance?
I mean, of course, everyone over at Frontline, Bruzy, everyone that makes this possible, you guys, just everything. It's a great group of people from top to bottom on our end, on your guys' end, that just make it possible for us to be here talking to you guys every week. So I appreciate every single one.
All right, well, that is Travis Manning, your second place finisher tonight, and I'll pass it back to you, Nolan.
And that will leave us with, of course, the man of the hour, Justin. I cannot believe this. I did not expect much from you coming out of tonight with the 11th place in qualifying, but you win stage 1, you win stage 2, and then you come home to dominate stage 3 as well. And that leaves me with really one question. What happened in qualifying to put you all the way down to the 11th with that kind of speed?
I honestly wish I knew. I sent it into the corner, went up the track. I was like, all right, we got one more lap. Drove it right in again, up the track.
Well, hey, all things considered, you still come home and get a very solid race win tonight. Strategy was certainly on the mind. In stage 3, were you thinking about maybe stretching it late like guys like Hoffman did to hope for a caution, or did you kind of make up your mind already when you wanted to come down?
Really played it by ear. I wanted to see how many people were going to short pit at first, and it was kind of 50-50. I ran it until the car started plowing, and I think that was about 185. I came down, and it worked out perfectly.
Of course, you have 2 race wins under your belt now here in the round of 8, and this means that you're going to be in a solid position coming on up for the round of 6, which kicks off at Las Vegas. It's a bit more of a draft-heavy round than the round of the short tracks was here in the round of 8. What's going to be the plan for the round of 6?
Keep up the momentum, try to make sure this car stays clean, finish the race, and get the best stages that I can. Vegas has not been too kind to me over the last few seasons, so we'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to find yourself with some solid momentum coming on over into the round of 6. You certainly had a lot of momentum behind you tonight. Well, Justin, a pleasure as always. Before you let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for your Frontline Motorsports 19?
Gotta shout out you guys. You guys do such an awesome job. I love going back and watching the broadcast. Gotta thank Kenny for putting this on for us. Without him, we wouldn't be racing here on Thursday nights. Gotta thank everyone at Frontline for all the laps turned to get this car just right. And Bruzy Racewear.
And well, we're going to thank you once again, Justin, for taking the time out of your evening to come on over and join us. I bet you're tired, so I'm going to let you go and get some rest. But congratulations on a dominant victory here at Bristol.
Thank you.
And well, Brian, that does it for your top 3 drivers on the podium. What a race. It was an insane one, full of attrition in stages 1 and 2, but stage 3, we saw the strategies under Greenfly pit stops play out. We never thought we'd see it, but hey, at Bristol and a track like this, anything can happen. But Vegas is coming up next, more draft heavy, as we were just mentioning, than the previous 3 races have been. So what do you think we can expect? Obviously, it's going to get even more intense with us eliminating another 2 drivers in just 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very crazy and chaotic considering, Vegas, it's such a draft-heavy track. It's going to probably act a lot like a, super speedway out there for sure. These guys are going to be hungry too, willing to maybe take it 3 or 4 wide. And, is it going to work? I think we're going to see even more chaos next week.
One can only imagine. Las Vegas, the gambling track, and known as the gambling capital of the world, is where that thing is located. So who knows what we'll be seeing in the first race for the round of 6. But for now, that's going to be all the time we're going to have for one night. I'm Enola Rempel, Brian Britzman beside me up in the commentary box with Rob Melnick down behind the cameras as technical director for tonight's race. Thank you, everybody, once again for taking time out of your Thursday night to race with us more for the ISCA Super Cup Series. We'll see you next week in Las Vegas.